As we near the end of the summer, Nebraska's 2027 recruiting class is starting to explode. We've received huge news over the past couple days. The multiple 4-star and 5-star prospects are scheduling visits to Lincoln as we speak. So in today's video, I'm going to go over this loaded update, who these 5-star prospects are, multiple big-time offensive linemen, defensive linemen, defensive backs, wide receivers. The Huskers are dominating. What's been going on behind the scenes with our NIL? How aggressive are we willing to be? How big is this class going to be? 15 prospects, 20, 25, maybe even 30. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to address the rumor mill. There are a lot of rumors going on right now. The Nebraska quarterback commit Trae Taylor will reclassify up to 2026. We'll talk about whether or not that's actually going to happen and everything else you need to know. So really quick, this video is jam-packed. I'm fired up. If you are to hit that like button, and also the season is almost here. If you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? This is the only place on Husker YouTube where you get daily content. Talk your favorite team, talking Nebraska. It is a no-brainer. Takes 2 seconds. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. A huge Nebraska recruiting update, talking about this 2027 cycle, all the 5-star visitors, whether or not Trae Taylor will reclassify, how big the cycle is going to be, the NIL factor, and so much more. But also, I want to give you guys a quick reminder that tomorrow at 10 o'clock Central, the biggest video that I do all year on the channel, my comprehensive Nebraska 2025 deep dive, will be released with advanced graphics, advanced statistics, film, so many surprises, my individual player ratings, and so much more. I put a lot of work into what you're about to see tomorrow. So once again, say your calendar, say your reminder. It's over 1 hour long. At 10 o'clock Central, my Nebraska deep dive will be released. So see you then. But with that being said, let's get into the video talking about Nebraska's 2027 class, a huge update, all the 5-stars who are visiting, Trae Taylor, and so much more. So I want to get things going with a lot of questions that I've received, a lot of concerns, honestly. There are a lot of concerns right now from Nebraska fans that the 2027 cycle will be very similar to 2026, where we don't take many prospects, around 15, 16, 17 when it's all said and done, and that we're not going to be aggressive when it comes to NIL, and for that reason, we won't be willing to outbid some of these top teams to get the 5-stars that we're going after. Now, to address that concern, I'm going to tell you that the 2027 cycle will look absolutely nothing like 2026. The reason why, when you look around the country right now, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, USC, LSU, all of these programs are taking huge classes. In Nebraska, they're taking a very small class. The reason why we're taking a small 2026 class is because we know that in 2027, we're going to absolutely load up. So for that reason, while we're only going to take about 15 guys this cycle, in 2027, expect around 30. Okay, that's going to be the new norm. So Nebraska, they're going to get a lot of prospects in that class. And also, we're going to be a lot more aggressive when it comes to NIL. We know that that's huge in getting these 5-star prospects nowadays. The boosters are going to get involved. And when we have this winning season this year, a lot more money is going to be flowing through this program. For that reason, we're going to be willing to spend to the same degree as a lot of these big-time SEC and Big Ten schools. So Nebraska, they know this 2027 cycle is a huge opportunity. It's an opportunity to revolutionize this program, to get us back on track, to get a top 10, maybe even a top 5 recruiting class. Let's get things going. So let's talk about all the news that's dropped over the past couple weeks, over the past couple days. The 4-star and 5-star visitors who are expected to get in town for the season. And I want to get things started with arguably the Huskers' biggest target in this entire recruiting class, none other than 5-star tight end Ahmad Hudson. What's been going on with him now? There was an article released just the other day that right now he's down to pretty much 6 schools. Texas A&M, Florida, Ohio State, Nebraska, Baylor, and LSU. But for all intents and purposes, as it stands right now, there's 1A, which is LSU. LSU is the leader. They've been the leader for some time. There's 1B, which is Nebraska. Then there's Ohio State pretty much after that, Texas A&M after that, and then there's everybody else. So Nebraska right now, as it stands, they're the second team right now closest to the top, not named LSU. But it was also reported by Ahmad Hudson that he's looking to visit Nebraska once again this year, likely for that Michigan game. The Huskers are very much involved here, that they're doing a great job recruiting him, whether it's from Matt Rule, Marcus Satterfield, Dana Holgerson, even Trae Taylor's been getting involved here. So Ahmad Hudson, he feels like Nebraska could be home for him. We know that when he visited a couple weeks ago, man, he dominated in that in that 77 camp to levels we've never seen before. To Micah Parsons levels. I mean, he had 6 or 7 touchdowns the entire game. He had multiple just big plays where he's mossing guys, the speed, the size, the athleticism, it was all showed off. So Ahmad Hudson, he really feels like Nebraska could be his future destination. Of course, we know that LSU's the favorite. He grew up to be a fan there, but Nebraska in a really good spot. So it should be noted, probably going to visit for that Michigan game. Trae Taylor will also be in town. I recently talked to Trae Taylor, asked him what games are going to be in town for. And he said pretty much every single home game besides Houston Christian, Trae Taylor will be there. So he's going to be there trying to peer recruit guys like Ahmad Hudson and a couple of the other 5 stars that we're about to talk about. Then let's get to the running backs. Because Nebraska, they're expected to take around 2 or 3 running backs in this entire recruiting class, and they're in a good place. When it comes to Kaahaaina Haney, I can confirm that he will be visiting Nebraska this fall, whether it's for the Akron game, Michigan game, USC game, we will see. But this is somebody who I think is going to be a 4-star running back when it's all said and done, coming out of Omaha Central. I compare him to Marshawn Lynch because he's somebody who embraced the contact. He's willing to bull rush you. He's willing to stiff arm you, just run over you, man. He loves the physicality. He loves the contact. Nebraska all the time, we talk about getting a bell cow running back who's willing to lay the boom on you. Let's get ourselves one. We have a huge opportunity who's in our own backyard. So Kaahaaina Haney, Nebraska, they've been recruiting him for about a year now. He's about to blow up. The Huskers, there could get a steal here because I think he could be a very high 4-star when it's all said and done. Super athletic, but he will be visiting Nebraska this fall along with a bunch of other 5-star running backs, 4-star running backs like Myson Johnson Cook, like Noah Roberts coming out of Basha, a bunch of other big-time running backs. So just watch out for Kaahaaina Haney. Now, let's go to the offensive line. Because that's the positional group right now, the Nebraska, they're having the most success out of all of them. Mark Matthews is the first guy we'll talk about, who's the number 2 offensive tackle in America, 5-star prospect. He visited Nebraska just a couple weeks ago for that 77 tournament, and he loved Lincoln. He loved talking with the coaching staff, loved Donnie Raiola, loved Trae Taylor, and for that reason, Mark Matthews should be visiting Nebraska once again this fall. That's the expectation. They're trying to get him in town for that Michigan game. Now, he's somebody who, as you'd imagine, has every offer in America. He said multiple times that he wants to stay in Florida. He wants to stay in the Southeast. But if there was one school that would push him away from that, it would be Nebraska. So, Donnie Raiola, man, he's doing a really good job in the recruiting trail. I don't know what it is, but he's done the first step right, where he's doing a good job getting these guys interested and getting these guys on visits, but the second step is actually getting them to commit. So hopefully he can do that. But Mark Matthews, we're in a good place for the 5-star tackle out of Fort Lauderdale. Then let's keep it with another 5-star tackle. This time, the number 1 prospect in America, who's already visited Nebraska. He visited Nebraska in February. This is Kennedy Brown. Now, it's expected Nebraska will get a visit from him this fall as well. Again, Texas in the mix here. Texas A&M, you got Baylor, you got Texas Tech. A lot of these hometown schools are going after him, but Kennedy Brown was really interested in Nebraska. They've been recruiting him before he blew up, before he was a 5-star. So he feels like the Huskers, they're one of those schools that believed in him from the very get-go. Now, this is somebody who, again, as it stands, number 1 prospect in America, he's going to cost some money. And I just don't know if Nebraska's maybe willing to outbid maybe even a Texas Tech, who, Texas Tech, they're offering $3, $4, $5 million per prospect. Like, they have a lot of money, a lot of oil money. So it's going to be hard to land a guy like him, but he should be in town this fall. Nebraska, they're in a really good spot for a lot of these 5-star offensive linemen. And then, Cameron Wagner, somebody who will be in town, maybe even for multiple visits this fall. I think when it's all said and done, he'll commit to Nebraska probably by November, if not December. Somebody who is a top 100 tackle according to some recruiting sites, big friend of Trae Taylor. He should be a commit sooner rather than later. The Huskers, that would be a game changer right there at that OT spot. I think when it's all said and done, Nebraska, they'll probably land 5 or 6 offensive linemen in this class alone. And then going to one more offensive lineman. This is the number 1 guard in America according to a lot of recruiting sites. As it stands, he's number 2 according to On3. This is Albert Simeon. He's visited Nebraska, I want to say 3 times total. He's visited Nebraska 3 total times. Now, you got LSU in the mix here. You got Alabama. Those are the other 2 schools that are really Nebraska they're battling him for. But he has a great relationship with Matt Rule, with Donnie Raiola, and the Huskers doing a good job there. They're offering him a lot in NIL money compared to the other schools as well. So Nebraska, they're in a good spot. For a lot of these offensive linemen, step 1 is done. Get these guys interested. Get them on visits. All those guys should be visiting in the fall. They've already visited once before. But now it's time to see if we can get them to commit. But it all starts winning and offering a lot in NIL money. Then, let's go over the defense, because there are a bunch of big-time defensive prospects who are going to be visiting Nebraska as well. Marvin DeWetstop is somebody who I want to put on your guys' radar. He's basically Valdin Sone 2.0. He's represented by the same group, PPI recruits. I know we don't have a great relationship with PPI recruits. At least I think they're kind of sketchy. Matt Rule's done a good job having a good relationship with them. But me personally, I was not a big fan of Valdin Sone's agent, but he's represented by the same guy. But listen, Marvin DeWetstop is somebody who's super athletic. He's from Germany. He's 6'7", 250 pounds. I mean, just look at the offer list here. You got Georgia, you got Nebraska, Michigan, Texas A&M, South Carolina. Like, these offers are legit, and he's somebody who's going to blow up in the same way that Valdin Sone did. So it's important Nebraska to continue to build that relationship, and hopefully, although you didn't land Valdin Sone, maybe you can land basically him 2.0 in this recruiting class, who's more of an edge rusher, who can come up the edge, who's super explosive, has long arms, he's very tall himself, and man, he is athletic. He's a beast. So hopefully the Huskers can land him, but he should be visiting this fall. And then going to the DBs, because this is honestly the room, besides offensive line, that's been the most impressive so far. Addison Williams is going to work. Him and John Butler, they're doing a really good job in this class. Juju Johnson, there was recently an article that was him talking about Nebraska. He said he has a great relationship with Addison Williams, that he already taught him a lot. He had a great time in Lincoln. It was not what he expected. He thought it was going to be a cornfield. It was not that way. He thinks that he could be really successful in Nebraska. So we're building a sneaky good connection in California for that reason. Juju Johnson, expect him to visit Nebraska this fall for maybe 1 or 2 games. Now, again, he has every offer you can imagine. It's going to be hard to land a guy like him, as is all these guys, but he should be in town for at least 1 game this fall. You got Bryson Brown, who announced that he will be visiting Nebraska this fall. He's a safety coming out of Oklahoma. I expect him to be in town either for Akron or that Michigan game. So Bryson Brown, somebody who plays corner and safety. The Huskers are going after him. Very athletic, very gifted, very speedy. You got Corey Hadley, who was also announced he will be visiting Nebraska this fall, probably for later down the line, probably for USC, I would guess. But Corey Hadley, somebody who's more of a hard hitter safety coming out of Georgia, a guy who can lay the boom on you, play in the box, play strong safety. Really like Corey Hadley's game. He's somebody who's almost a 5-star prospect, but he will definitely be in town. You got Torrey Pittman. We know he's going to be in town for just a couple of games. Nebraska right now is the favorite, but he's not going to commit soon. He's probably going to wait until next year. You still get LSU in there. You got Oregon, you got Notre Dame. So some big-time schools going after Torrey Pittman, but he will be visiting Nebraska as you would expect. And then it just gets better. I mean, you got Samaj Stanford, who is a top 100 prospect according to some recruiting sites. Very athletic, very similar to Torrey Pittman, where he can play all over the field, very fast. Nebraska, they've been recruiting him for about 2 years now, so he'll be in town for at least 1 game. And then you also, that's pretty much it. We'll get to Trae Taylor, but those are all the DBs that Nebraska, they are going after. So listen, the 27 cycle, it looks great. It looks generational. Bunch of big-time prospects. Now, I will tell you this. There's not a bunch of defensive linemen we're going after right now. And wide receivers is a position where there's not a bunch of big names who we're going after. But right now, you feel great about offensive line. You feel great about DBs. You feel great about, of course, quarterback already, running back. We still got a lot of time, but man, this 27 class is going to be huge. It comes down to 2 things. Win football games. That matters a lot. But even if you win 10 games, if you're not offering a lot of NIL, that doesn't even matter. You got to offer a lot of NIL. That's the most important factor nowadays. If you don't have a good NIL, you're never going to land a good recruiting class, okay? You got to have good NIL. You got to offer a bunch of money to these prospects. If you're not going to do that, you're just going to you're going to get a cycle full of 3 stars. So Nebraska NIL, they got to be more aggressive in this 27 cycle, and I do expect them to do just that. So those are all the prospects who are going to visit Lincoln this fall. Let's end things off talking about Trae Taylor, whether or not he's going to reclassify. So this is a question that I've received a lot, pretty much since he committed to Nebraska, because we know that this 26 cycle is struggling, though it's not very good right now. It's the worst in the Big Ten according to every single recruiting site. So I've received questions that, okay, with Trae Taylor, how elite he is. We know he's already 6'3". His processing skills is elite for his age. Why wouldn't he reclassify? I've received that question so many times. I can firmly tell you with my conversation with Trae Taylor and also with just what we've heard from other insiders, other beat reporters, that Trae Taylor will not reclassify. He will stay in the 2027 cycle. And honestly, I think that's the best for him, right? It's good for him to spend his time in high school to continue to develop himself, to make this 2027 cycle as good as possible. And also, it just does him no good to reclassify and show up to Nebraska early because he's not going to play in 2026. Dylan Riley's on the roster, so it might be good from maybe a development standpoint, but honestly, I think he's going to be developed still very, very good in high school, and then hopefully in 2027, he's the number 1 quarterback in America. He shows up on campus, starts in day 1. So I think it's a lot better for Trae to stay in the 27 class. That's exactly what's going to happen. It's just important for him to be a peer recruiter, to be an advocate for the program, and then hopefully because of him and his work, we can get a top 10 class if everything happens right on the field and with our NIL collective. So I know I've received a lot of questions. There are a lot of rumors going on with the message boards right now. It's not going to happen. Trae Taylor will stay in the 26 class, he will stay in the 2027 class. I just wanted to address that. So, all right, guys, that's the video talking about Nebraska's 27 class, man. It's looking good. Hopefully it stays that way. Just got to win and got to have some NIL money. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Again, want to give you guys, once again, one last reminder that tomorrow, 10 o'clock Central, my deep dive will be released. Please show support on the video. I put a lot of work into what you're about to see with the graphics, with the film, with the editing. It's going to be worth it. It's going to be 1 hour long, full of information, full of content. So make sure to be here. Say a reminder, 10 o'clock Central tomorrow. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you made this far. So always, folks, go my Earl, and I'll see you in the next one.